Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Joffrey Noodle Legs here today. Today I've got another Noodle film review. Today we're looking at the 1970s I Spit on Your Grave, the infamous video Nasty. So let's have a little look at this edition. This is just the Blu-ray edition. Contains 2 discs, the movie, and in this one here, it's called Growing Up, with I Spit on Your Grave, and that's like a over 2 hour documentary on the film and the making of and interviews. It's actually longer than the film itself. Because of the nature of this film, I will not be showing any clips from the film, just because I do not want to accidentally put something on there that could be foreseen as being a little bit, Anyway, a little synopsis on the film. It's about this young girl here, this beautiful young woman called Jennifer. She's like going off to the countryside to like a sort of cabin retreat to write a book. So she's gone away from, she lives in the city, so she's gone away to get away from it all to write this book. And on the trip, she stops off at the garage in the countryside, and she meets like 3 guys there who seem quite pleasant to her and quite nice. They have a conversation, and she leaves with no problem. And then we cut to her at the actual cabin, and then another chap comes along called Matthew. He's a little bit sort of learning difficulties type of chap, and he's delivering the shopping, and they're chatting away, and he asks to be her friend, and she says yes, no problem. Anyway, then it cuts back to Matthew's gone back to the other 3 guys that are at the garage station, and he talks to them about the girl, and I think he sort of tells them where she's actually staying. Anyway, then we cut to she's sort of relaxing by like the actual cabin is by like a big lake side, so she's relaxing by there, and then you see like a motorboat going past. She's trying to write a book, write some stuff down for it, and they just keep annoying and keep going round and round and round, and it's 2 of the guys that was at the garage, and they keep sort of pestering her. So in the end she just goes back into the house. And then at night time, it cuts to the night time, and she's in bed, sort of like relaxing and still trying to write or read. And she hears all these sort of like noises outside, and she can't locate who it is. So she goes back in. And then the next day, it cuts to her out on this little canoe boat. We're out on the lake. She's just sleeping on it. And then the guys turn up again with their speedboat, and they torment her, going round and round circles the canoe boat, and they grab a rope and pull the canoe boat to the shore, and she tries to get away from them, and the other 2 guys are there as well. And then this when it comes to the infamous horrific scene of her being raped. Now she gets raped 4 times, and the rape sequence and attack sequence lasts for about 20 to 25 minutes. And it's horrendous to watch. It's not good. You don't see a lot, you don't see a lot, but you know what's happening. Sometimes you don't need to see everything to be disgusted by it. And yeah, so she gets raped, and she sort of tries to get away. And the reason they're doing it, the 3 other guys, they're catching her to try and get Matthew, the one who's got learning difficulties, to actually rape her, and he doesn't want to do it at first. So then she sort of struggles away, and she gets stopped again further in the woods, and again that they put her over a stone, and she's raped again. And then she finally gets herself back to safety, so she thinks to her cabin, gets in there, and they're inside. She tries to phone the police, they kick the phone away, and she gets raped again, and then she gets beaten. And that's when they leave after that. So they leave on the boat. They try and send Matthew back in, the boy that's got like a learning difficulties, to kill her. They give her a knife. They want him to go in and kill her before she sort of like reports them. But he pretends to go in and comes out and says, yeah, I did it. I think she's unconscious, and he's just sort of scraped blood of hers onto the knife. Yeah, I've done it. So they all go away thinking he's done it. But obviously she hasn't. And then it sort of cuts to where she's having a recovery period, where she's sort of like trying to get her head around it all and everything, and sort of plotting her revenge. And that's what pretty happens from there on. It turns into like a revenge movie. First of all, she gets Matthew. She brings him back to the place by ordering more shopping from his store. He comes there, and then she sort of like seduces him and puts a rope round his neck, and then she hangs him. And then the main protagonist, he's brought the second time round to the house, and he's then taken to the bath, and she cuts off his manhood, and so he's left bleeding. And then we cut to the other two who are still tormenting her with a boat sort of thing, because they've gone to see her because the other guy hasn't turned up and Matthew's missing. And she's sneaks up on one of them on the boat, knocks him off the boat, steals the boat, and she revenges them by killing them. And that's pretty much the film. And she kills them, one with an axe in his back and the other one with the propeller of the motorboat. And then she sort of drives off on the motorboat, and the film ends. So that's pretty much the whole film. It's not a very long film. It probably lasts about it's about I Spit on Your Grave. It says 100 minutes, but I thought it seemed a lot less than that. But there we go. It does move quite quick. It's not a slow paced film. So what do I think of the film? I mean, it's an interesting film. I mean, the concept of the film is a good concept. Obviously, the revenge. How it was executed is not particularly to my taste. I think the rape scene could have been toned down more and less of it, like just a sort of 2 or 3 minute thing where we get the picture, we get the idea, and then we could have had more on her sort of plotting the revenge side, which I would have preferred more. But there we go. It's quite well acted, it's quite believable. That's what probably makes it scary and terrifying, because it is believable and they act it really, really well. It's very, very similar to Sean Cunningham's and Wes Craven's Last House on the Left. That was out before this, and that's another sort of same thing, where they torture and rape girls, and then the family get revenge. But this is actually the girl that's getting revenge on the 4 guys, and that's her there, Jennifer. She's really pretty. And yeah, it's a very difficult watch. It's not an easy film to watch. It's not a film you would put on to oh wow, cool, to have fun with. It's a bit of a serious sort of horror, and it's a very brutal film. It's one of the sort of films I really tend to avoid. But the reason why this one is more watchable is just because the rape scenes and the revenge scenes are not as explicit as the other films. This is more what you don't see, where the other one is more what you see, things like Salo and Serbian films. But you can easily see why this was banned, and why it was a video nasty. And it was still banned for a long, long, long time after the video nasty scene was over. I don't think it ever really got a proper VHS release. I think it eventually sort of came out when DVDs came out and restrictions were a lot less tighter. Then it eventually got around. Now you can get it on DVD, Blu-ray, 4K. They've just released a 4K edition. Man v Film on his channel has just done a review of that. So this might be worth going over to look at it. But the film as a whole, I actually quite like the film. I think it's a good film. It is a very disturbing film and difficult watch. A bit like Cannibal Holocaust, it's very difficult to watch, but it is an interesting film, and it is quite a good story. And I quite like that it's to the point. So the pluses of the film, there, it is to the point. There's not a lot of like slow burning in the film where big character build up or stuff like that. There's none of that. I quite like that, and that was a big plus. I think it's filmed beautifully. Not the horrendous scenes, okay, but the actual location. The camera work was really, really cool in a lot of scenes. I really, really liked that. There's a lot of sort of like sunset sort of scenes, which I really quite appreciated and liked. I thought the photography was really good. I think the casting was really, really cool. The guys were very similar to the killers in Last House on the Left. They were quite similar, but she was fantastic. She was an absolute real plus to the film. She played the role really well. You could see on her revenge parts the real hate in her eyes. You could just see it and feel it. She acted it really, really well. It was really cool. And when she's going off on the boat at the end, she gives like a little sort of smirk, which I quite liked as well. I thought that was quite cool. The minus of the film is the rape scene. It's disgusting. You don't see much, but it's still disgusting. Having 20 minutes, 25 minutes of your film on sort of based around that part, um, it's just not nice. Like I said, to me, I think that's a minus. There's no need to have been that long. I think that time would have been spent better in more of her recovery and the plot of her revenges. They could have been done, with her sort of like, I was sort of seeing how she's sort of like plotting that. But this is what it is. It's quite an historical film. It's quite an important film because it opens a lot of genres and like the torture genres. You got films like Saw and Hostel and all these sort of films that were sort of like all around torture and humans being just plain evil to one another. It opened a whole new sort of genre, and it's quite an. Sorry about that, guy. My phone just died. Scoring it is I'm gonna do this, try and score it now. It's gonna be really difficult. So I'm not gonna give it an out of 10. I'm gonna say for extreme horror fans only. That's how I'm scoring it. And if you into your extreme horror films, if you like your video nasties, like the real bad ones, this is for you. If you like horror films that are not like too disturbing or like portray humans' disgusting behaviour, then this isn't for you. Okay, so it's for horror fans, extreme horror fans only. And that's my review of I Spit on Your Grave. Have any of you seen it? If you have, what did you think of it? Write down and let me know below. They did do a remake, and that had sequels. There's about another 4 I Spit on Your Grave films. I don't have the. I've got the first sequel, but I don't have the others. It's not like a sort of a movie thing. I felt the need to pursue. But it was good to rewatch that again. I've not watched it for a few many years. I didn't really intend to buy it, but I picked it up because it was in CEX for £5, and it was a double disc. And actually, I'm more interested in watching the documentary, which I might watch later today. Please go and check out some other horror channels for me, please. Check out Horror Hands, check out The Horror Geek, check out Man v Film, check out Pizzlewell, check out I Am Ice Lord, check out Sarah of Horror, check out RS Designs. Until next time, guys, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.